Something's been on my mind lately, and I'm not sure if it's something that's completely obvious or it's something that's discussed in any marketing or business or philosophy classes, but I think the 90s are coming back. Allow me to explain. In the past, decade actually, there's been a major resurgence in 80s nostalgia. Stuff you probably noticed, things like Tron, Scott Pilgrim, Ready Player One, Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, Voltron, Synthwave. Who could forget about Synthwave? I think you get the picture. But then somewhere in the back of my mind, I started to notice that other aspects of 90s culture were starting to creep their way into the mainstream. That all started when I was paying attention to Captain Marvel. Takes place in the 90s. You got lots of references to Blockbuster and Nine Inch Nails and pagers. You know what a pager is, right? It's Google it. And then more stuff started to catch my attention. You have Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Aladdin and Mulan remakes, a new Carmen Sandiego, and most excitingly, the return of Animaniacs with the original voice cast. Come on, Tiny Toons, come on! I think the reason that these things are genuinely exciting to me and that I'm even noticing them to begin with is because I grew up in the 90s. And while I'm not necessarily a fan of lumping groups of people together, people in my age group are now getting to the age where they're the responsible ones for creating content. This goes not only for making the content, but also having the disposable income to pay for it, to consume it. And of course, if they have kids, maybe the desire to share a piece of their own childhood with them. Nostalgia at its finest. But with all of these pieces that you put together, you start to notice patterns. A 30-year span, plus or minus 5 years, that dictates what's in style. 2000s, 70s, 90s, 60s, 80s, 50s. Look no further than Back to the Future. It takes place in 1985, and what time period did they travel back to? 1955. In the 90s, one of the biggest hits was Austin Powers, a movie about a guy from the 60s. 2000s, you had Starsky and Hutch, Charlie's Angels, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Okay, let's run.
All remakes of 1970s shows. Oh, yeah, and that 70s show. Yeah, technically it started in 1998, but it finished in 2006, so it works. In order to make sure I wasn't crazy, though, I looked this up, and there's an excellent article by Patrick Metzger and a video breakdown by Lindsay Ellis of this 30-year pop culture phenomenon. I've got links to both in the description below if you want to dive further. But I think this boils down to a couple of points. First, if you're my age, you probably have a lot that you're excited about right now. But for anyone that is trying to get ahead of the curve on design or trends or style or fashion or what the next YouTube challenge is going to be, look to the past. 30 years to the past to be specific, plus or minus a few years. I don't know about you, but I, for one, can't wait for yo-yos and Tamagotchi and nano pets and nano babies and rollerblades to come back in style. Maybe a little Casper the Friendly Ghost or Space Jam, like a sequel. Call me Jordan.
Stop it. Get some help.
And can somebody tell me where the Final Fantasy VII Remake is? Stop teasing us, Square Enix. Or Beanie Babies. I have way too many Beanie Babies. So many Beanie Babies. This isn't even half of the... Thumbs up if you've been holding on to these things like the world's greatest investment. But here's what I want to know. Is this obvious to anybody else? Did it blow your mind? What did you love about the 90s? What did you hate about the 90s? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, take that subscribe button and
Pop it. Push it. Pull it.
Man, that looks easy.
thanks for watching. See you in the next video.